Hi there, Jamie Key here today at Teachers Tech. Hope you're having a great day today. Today I want to show you how to use date and time functions inside Microsoft Excel. So I'm going to show you how these functions work and then together with a formula to even get them to do more. So let's get started today with date and time functions inside Microsoft Excel. So I'm going to start off this tutorial just simply with some simple functions and dates, and then I'll show you some more advanced things too. Now with this worksheet, if you want to follow along, I'll put the link down below in the description so you can click on it and download it and enter the information how I show you. Now let's start off with just something simple. I'm just going to click in today's date. Now I don't have to use the function if I want today's date. I could just simply type today's date, hit enter, and it gives me back a date. And if you're new with using dates, you can format these. So if I right click and format cells, you can pick a different format. You can go through the list here. So if I was going to just pick this, hit OK, and you can see how it's formatted here. All right, but I don't want this. So I want to be able to have a dynamic date so that if I open the worksheet tomorrow, it's going to change. And for this, I need to enter a function. And the function that I'm going to use, so I just deleted that cell, is the today function. And if I just click in here, there's a couple different ways you can get to the functions on this. So if I click this little F up in here, insert function, I could go up here. You could type today and hit go and it would find it in the list. I could double click on today and it just enters it in just like this. Even though it looks exactly the same as the last one I showed you, it's different because if I open this worksheet tomorrow, it's dynamic. It will say October 12th. So it's automatically going to update. And remember, I'll just delete this real quickly. You don't have to use that function key that I just showed you. You could just type this in. So if I was using today, I could just keep typing or use it at this point. I just have to make sure that I have to end that bracket there and put it in. All right, so what can we do with this? Let's just try some simple formulas now. Let's say hypothetically my birthday was December 17th and I want to know how many days until my birthday. You can just create a formula using subtraction. If I go ahead and put equals here, and so we're starting a formula, I click on this cell right here and I go ahead and minus. So I went to click the further one out first and then minus this cell. And then you can see it's 67. When I open up this spreadsheet tomorrow, this would be October 12th, and this would automatically adjust to 66 because this first one's dynamic and it would change for it. Now let's see something else we can do with this. If I wanted to add something, I'll go to this cell reference here, this cell, and I want to have a bill due after a person purchased it, and we'll say 20 days out. So what I'm going to do is I'll start another formula. I'm going to say equals, and we'll just go to this top one again. I'm going to reference this cell, and I'm going to go ahead and add. So, I'm going to go ahead and just add my this cell right here. So this grace period one, even though I have nothing in there yet, I can quickly adjust it and change the grace period if I want. So I'll hit enter. It's the same date, even though the format's a little different. I'm going to click in here. If I say, let's say if it was in 20 days, like so, you can see it adjusted 20 days. Now it's due on Halloween here. If I was going to say 30 days, we could go ahead and it will adjust it very quickly with the cell references. I could have, instead of putting D8, so if you look up here in the formula, I could have put plus 30 and it would give me the same date, but I like using that cell reference because it's quick to change on any of these. If you want to put in maybe the time, you could do this in a number of different formats too. So if I was going to put equals, you can use the now, not the new one, you can use the now. And if I select this one and just end the bracket, hit return. Now notice it's giving me the just the date. This is because the way that this one's formatted. So if I go to format cells, if you take a look at the time one, I could adjust this and pick a time here and it will just give me back a time to it. So it depends on how you want your cell formatted. You could go through and just pick these. So you could go look at the date and time if you want let's say go with this one. So it's going to give me the date and the time all together. You can adjust that. I do want to point out there's some shortcuts to the static ones that make it kind of handy if you just want to enter a quick date in here. So I'll just click in this cell. So if I hit Control and then hold that down and add my semicolon, it will quickly add the date. And then if you do the Control Shift and semicolon, although I guess that kind of makes it the colon if you hold down the Shift, but then you can see how it enters some time. So those are just some quick shortcuts. So those are just some simple things with time and date. I want to show you a little bit more advanced ones that you can do too. Now, I just want to go through a number of different ways you can still add and do different things and find the differences between using times. I'm just going to click in this cell right here, and I'm going to use my now function that I showed you before. So I'm going to type in now on this one, and I'll just not new, I'll go now and complete it. So there's an empty worksheet that you can just go to the bottom and practice this as we go along. What I want to do first is, let's say if we want to add a half a day to this, or 12 hours. We can just simply do a formula indicating this based on this time. So if I use my equal sign to start my formula, and I go ahead and click on this cell and go to my addition, I can add a half a day just by putting 0.5 for a half a day. So if I go and put my 0.5 in, hit enter, and you'll be able to see that this is 12 hours ahead on this one. So, but let's say if we wanted to be more specific than this, we can actually add another, more like, so let's say 5 hours and 29 minutes to this, but then we'll have to use another function with it. So if I go to this cell right here, and I'm going to just start my formula, and I'll go back to here, clicking on this cell. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by typing time. And you can see I get this one right here. I'm going to choose this. Now all I have to do is follow along. So how many hours did I say? Well, I said 5, right? And then you put the comma, follow it along. How many minutes? 29. Now I could even get to the second, but I didn't say any second. So I'm just going to put 0, and I'm going to end this and hit enter. And you can see now it jumped ahead 5 hours and 29 minutes. So those are just some tips of how you can be adding specific amounts of times or hours to a date. And I just want to note, anytime there's any changes to the worksheet, that this will change automatically here. It's dynamic, right? So it's going to make those changes and everything will adjust from there. Another cool function with date and time inside Excel is the workday. So I can actually count, I want to know when is 30 workdays from a certain time. So I typed in November 1st right here, and I want to know when is 30 workdays. And I can calculate this a couple different ways, and I could have it with or without holidays, depending on how the workplace works. First of all, I'm going to do this without any holidays in it. If you look up top, and I didn't point out this yet, but if you look under the tabs and you look under formulas, there's all these date and time ones right here. So I could click down and take a look at all the different ones here. But if I go to Workday right here and just click on this, I get this dialog box, the arguments that I want to put in. Well, I just put November 1st here, and I'm going to click on it. So that's the start date, B6. How many days am I looking at? Let's say 30 days, 30 work days. When will the date be? I won't put the holidays yet. I'll just put OK. So then you can see that 30 work days from November 1st would be December 13th. Now, let's say if I wanted to do with the holidays, if I wanted, I could just type equals workplace, or go back up to date and time, and workday, and go up here. So my start date is here. 30 days again is here. This time I'm going to add holidays. So I wrote them over here. So these are the 2 holidays that in November. I'm going to highlight them like this. And you can see it gave that range. I hit OK. And now it's December 15th. So they took these as holidays, and now it changed the date. So that's just pointing out a work day, counting work days for you, and also making sure that you see under formulas, you have all these different ones that you can use. So there's lots of other date and time functions here from the library if you look under date and time, and I recommend you playing around with those. But the last function I want to show you today is one you're not going to find on this list, and that is DATEDIF. And DATEDIF can calculate the difference, whether it be days, months, or years between 2 different dates, and I want to show you how that works. So I'm going to start with the formula in this cell here, DATEDIF. and I'll type, you got to make sure you start with the equal sign. So I'm going to type DATEDIF like this, and I'm going to go ahead and start it. If I click on this, this will give me some help on the right-hand side to kind of show you the argument description and the units to use. But how it works is if I click on this first date where it says December 2nd, 2020, and then I just put a comma and I click on the second date and put another comma, what I can do is then just in quotation marks, put D for day, that's the unit, and make sure you have it in quotation marks, and then enter, and you get the days. Now you can do the same thing for months. So you go ahead and start it and put DATEDIF like this and start it up and click on the first one, comma, second one like this, and then making sure that you have the M for month and end it, and you get 10 months. And you could do the same thing, give it a try with year, just putting the Y in there, and you'll see the different what it will come up as a 0 on it because it's not a full year. So I hope you like these different tips for using date and time function in Microsoft Excel today. Let me know what else you're looking for down in the comments down below. Thanks for watching this week on Teachers Tech. I'll see you next time with more tech tips and tutorials.